Hi guys, welcome back to IELTS with Juva. In this lesson, I show you a Band 9 sample answer for IELTS Writing Task 2. The question is a cause-solution question that is about public transportation. We will write this answer together step by step, and I will give you many tips to help you increase your IELTS writing band score. Let's get started! By the way, if you want to get your dream IELTS band score, check out my IELTS materials. Here you can find templates, courses, sample answers, and much more to really boost your IELTS band score. To access the IELTS materials, click on the link in the description. Also, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next video. First, let's have a look at the question. Even though some cities have extensive public transportation systems, many people still drive cars. Why do you think this happens? How can people be encouraged to use more public transportation? From the prompt, you can see that this question asks why and how. Those words show that your response must include two elements. One is the reason why something happens or its cause. The second is the solution, how to solve the problem. Now, there is no right answer to a question like this. You just need to build your argument well. You need good organization, good grammar, and good vocabulary. In other words, your band score is based on how effective your language skills are. Let me show my response. I start with the introduction. The first sentence of my introduction is the background statement. The idea of this statement is to introduce the topic your essay will be about. You can find the topic in the question. To write a great background statement, you have to paraphrase the question. Guys, it's important that you paraphrase because this shows the IELTS examiner that you have a large vocabulary. This will really improve your IELTS writing band score. Here's the background statement. In many cities with excellent transportation options, cars are still the predominant method of travel. I'm showing off my vocabulary with predominant method of travel. That means most common method of travel. Using a few complex words correctly can emphasize your command of language from the start. Next, you must answer the first part of the question. That's the cause part. Why do you think this happens? In other words, you must give your opinion. Here's the next sentence. In my opinion, residents do not take advantage of their city's public transportation systems for two reasons related to personal convenience. I always start with "in my opinion", as it's the first phrase in my template. I love using templates because they help organize your response using a variety of awesome linking words. Templates can really boost your IELTS writing band score. I have written templates for all the IELTS writing tasks. You can find them in this course. The introduction is easy because I just paraphrase the question prompt. I changed words like many people to residents and still drive cars to do not take advantage of public transportation. However, I want to point one other detail out. That's agreement. What is agreement? This is a really hard point, and some native speakers make mistakes too. Do you see that the subject is residents in the plural? Now, the things that go with residents also need to be plural, since there is more than one. That's why I wrote their city's public transportation systems. That's called agreement. Their, cities, and systems are all plural, and I used the plural possessive form of cities correctly. Starting my essay carefully with a difficult but grammatically correct structure like this agreement really showcases my language skills and boosts my IELTS writing band score. Let's move on. The primary concern about public transportation is a lack of accessibility. I indented the first line and used my template to start the second paragraph too. The primary concern about is a great way to show I'm going to start the first reason for my opinion. I usually make my topic sentence short like this, so it's easy to understand my main idea. You can see that the problem is that it's hard to get to the transportation. I then give an example of what I mean. I'm going to show you the next two sentences. For example, many cities have excellent bus or light rail services from key suburbs to the downtown area. However, there are vast areas that are not served by the system. It is too far to comfortably walk to the bus stop or train station. All of this started as one sentence that began with the transition "for example." So it's easy to see I'm adding more information about the topic. However, originally I wrote this sentence in a different way. When I proofread, I decided to change it. I originally wrote, "For example, many cities have excellent bus or light rail services, but there are vast areas that are not served by the system." When proofreading the sentence, I realized that "not served by the system" might sound weird, because I just said that there was an excellent system. I wanted to make the example clear, but one sentence seemed too long. I therefore divided the sentence and added "downtown area" to limit the excellent service to the one region. I used, however, to show that the following is a contrast. There is good transportation in some places, but not others. I also used a semicolon to add the definition about what "not served by the system" refers to. Make sure you use punctuation correctly in IELTS writing. If you use, for example, a semicolon, this can really increase your band score because it shows the IELTS examiner that you know how to use punctuation correctly. You can see that a confusing sentence became much clearer because I took the time to reread it. The next sentence adds even more detail to expand on the problem. This problem is compounded by aging populations, as many seniors are less agile and may be concerned about falling or other health concerns while walking to the transportation hub in extreme weather. It's a long sentence with "as" showing that the following portion is an explanation of why the first part happens. My goal with this sentence was to show that people are not just lazy about public transportation, but that there might be actual reasons that stop people from walking a long way. I've made my point effectively, I think, so then I move on to the concluding sentence in this paragraph. Hence, location is a barrier in encouraging use of public transportation. Hence is also from my template. It's an amazing linking word for summing up. I tend to make the conclusion short too, so it's memorable. I also changed lack of accessibility to the simpler word location. That way, it's easier to remember the point. It also shows my paraphrasing skills. In IELTS Writing Task 2, it's important that you paraphrase because this shows the IELTS examiner that you have a large vocabulary. This will really improve your IELTS writing band score. Now, I had a decision to make. The first paragraph is a little short, and I had one more idea for a problem with the transit. However, if I put them together, it would make a really long paragraph, and I wasn't sure if I had enough time to make a long solution paragraph to balance it out. After thinking, I decided to make 3 shorter paragraphs that are all in balance, rather than one long one and one short one. Let's go on with reason number 2, that people don't ride buses and trains. I put this into a new paragraph and indented the first line. By the way, if you want to get your dream IELTS band score, check out my IELTS materials. Here you can find templates, courses, sample answers, and much more to really boost your IELTS band score. To access the IELTS materials, click on the link in the description. Also, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next video. Times of operation may be another cause of low ridership on public transportation. I didn't want the paragraphs to sound too repetitive, so I used a different structure from my template. I used blah blah blah, maybe another cause of blah blah blah. I also realized I was using people using a lot, so I changed that to low ridership. My second sentence in this paragraph explains what I mean by times of operation in more detail. Even in large cities, there may be a large interval between buses and trains. That sentence is short, but even is an awesome structure for emphasizing something. I showed that the problem exists not just in small towns or a limited area, but in large cities too. I make the point even more in the next sentence. Additionally, service might be limited or completely suspended at night or on weekends. Additionally is an awesome linking word to show that this sentence is another reason supporting my claim. I decided to show off my vocabulary here too by saying completely suspended instead of stopped. Now that I have explained the situation, I need to show why riders don't take the buses or trains. As a result, riders have no option but to wait a long time or adjust their schedules. It's an easy linking phrase to remember, but as a result, it's a fantastic way to point out what happens because of the previous argument. I then realized I talked about riders rather than about people who take their cars. That's not really addressing the question, is it? The next sentence concludes the paragraph by tying it to the main topic of why people do not ride public transportation. Understandably, people who might otherwise take public transportation decide to drive rather than wait extended periods for the next available vehicle. In this sentence, I didn't use hence because I wanted variety from the first paragraph. I also wanted a word that shows that I'm not being mean and saying people who take their cars are bad. If I did that, my reader might think that I'm biased and stop reading my argument. I show awareness and sensitivity, using the linking word understandably. Now I have answered part of the question, the cause part. However, I still need to give my solution to the problem. The question asks you how people can be encouraged to use more public transportation. So you must answer this question. Now I use the sentence starter for giving a solution from my template. It's this one. A possible solution to the issue at hand may be to create a city-sponsored car-sharing program to supplement the public transportation. Like before, I try to say the topic of the paragraph as clearly as possible. Now I explain what my plan is in more detail. The city could increase the number of buses or trains on main routes to reduce delays. This gives one part of the plan, more buses on main routes. It solves the problem of time that I mentioned in the second paragraph. I use could, which is a conditional tense. It shows that my plan is a possibility, but not a certainty for the future. Using conditionals properly is an awesome way to boost your IELTS writing band score because they show that your English is very advanced. Also, they are perfect for giving your suggestion in IELTS course solution questions. The next sentence addresses the problem of location. At the same time, they could offer discounted rides for people who drive together from the suburb to the nearest transportation hub, which could have parking for the car share vehicles and a comfortable waiting area for passengers. This is a long sentence. At the same time shows that this needs to be done while adding buses. Otherwise, this plan will not work. I've shown that this sentence is not an alternative, but an essential part of the solution. I also use the relative clause which to describe the transportation hub in more detail. Adding that information answers lots of potential questions because it makes the waiting time more appealing and shows where the cars go, doesn't it? Passengers is the same meaning as riders, but it adds more variety to my vocabulary. Now that I have explained my solution, I want to convince the reader it will work. Such a program would reduce traffic and car use because people would drive together to different hubs rather than to the city center, reducing congestion within the downtown area as well as increasing ridership. This isn't my usual concluding sentence for a paragraph. I usually give short ideas. However, I think ending this paragraph on the way that the project will be successful leaves the reader with the impression that it's a great idea. As you see, the sentence uses would, which is another conditional verb that shows possibility. I'm also ending this paragraph with as well as to show two benefits. But that phrase needs to have words with the same grammatical structure on both sides. I actually went back and checked to be sure because I wanted to end with good grammar, and it's easy to make a mistake with as well as. Notice I used reducing and increasing, which are both ing verbs. This sentence is parallel. On to the conclusion. Therefore, creating a car share program for transportation hubs in the suburbs might be effective in dealing with the issue of bolstering use of public transportation within cities. Therefore, and might be effective in dealing with the issue of are straight from my template. I don't have to work hard to finish my essay using this structure. I just add the solution and paraphrase the problem. Here I used bolstering. It's another word for increasing. I'm trying to end with strong vocabulary so the IELTS examiner has a good impression of my response. Last, I always take time to search for grammatical and spelling errors when I've finished writing. I look for ways to paraphrase. I check that my examples make sense and that the linking words show how the sentences relate to each other. Proofreading is an essential step for a high IELTS writing score. That's it. That's how to write an IELTS Writing Task 2 essay for a course solution question that gets you a band 9. By the way, if you want to get your dream IELTS band score, check out my IELTS materials. Here you can find templates, courses, sample answers, and much more to really boost your IELTS band score. To access the IELTS materials, click on the link in the description. Also, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next video.